How they open demon portals to crime and violence in Jamaica. Hey everyone, it's SkyWalker. I bring you a coffee from a higher realm of truth that you should try today. People, you know the drill. Once you see this topic, you know it's coming from the other side of Skywalker. If you think it's not for you, then I catch you later. I did not come to dictate and play God over your life. I simply came to speak a word for whomsoever will to find. This is no prerequisite to listening to Skywalker talk and politics. It's just that sometimes I speak on these peculiar things. Neither do you have to believe what I do are subject to any ritual that profanes your own beliefs. You are always welcome. My love stands above all differences, but I will never subject you to any kind of insult. I give you your choice without first creating an offense. Those with eyes to see will see. Let justice prevail in everything we do. Let us find peace with ourselves and with others. Let us create the conditions for peace at all times. Many of the things I will speak are basic and simple truths, even sciences, but not everyone can understand or fathom it. However, you might be challenged not by the fact that they are difficult to conceive, but by your own acceptance of a prescribed, preconceived notion of norm. You are tricked into seeing things the way it is not. Your mind is compartmentalized. For example, if you don't tell a Christian that he misuses the word believe when he is in church and switches to a new mindset compartment where he uses it correctly when he is in secular state, he will never realize. These are some of the levels of systemic sorceries that were designed for this new paradigm at the beginning of this world order that is now at an end. Many returned brothers and sisters are here to lead you on a fine journey of resurrection, or let's say total recall. It begins now. Again, our people will be true to God, true and righteous. If we, your elders, do not explain to you that you misuse the word norm in terms of interpretation, and you do this all the time, almost, you will not know. It is so because when your mind is compromised for subliminal effects by way of sorcery, you have to be permanently distracted from that reality, or else you will escape from the reality they want you to live in. Mind science used for evil is sorcery, but even your psychologists are under the spell because they were born into that paradigm. My beloved ones, I said that you have a prescribed, preconceived, and even enforced notion of what is normal, which you accept because of fear, ignorance, and stereotype combined. I hope even one person who is a psychologist will receive a power key for clarity today. Norm defines what usually occurs and not what is possible. Norm defines what usually occurs and not what is possible. I say that something is not normal, or at least if you think that something is not normal, it doesn't mean it must be taboo or it must be impossible. What usually occurs is not the only thing that may occur. Your future and your heaven will be created by the anomalies, and the first wave of these anomalies will be the silent ones that will come to speak and tell you these impossible things. But hear this: as long as sentient man has lived on this old created airplane called Earth, created by advanced sentient gods, a society known as Elohim that hurtles through space at an alarming speed but is fixed to its channel, his advancements only came at times when Narm was absolved. We are here to observe the norm and tell you incredible, impossible things today because we will let you make the impossible possible and then you will be free. The fact that the earth was flat back in the days was the only truth, and the round earth concept was impossible. People suffered and some died simply for saying otherwise. I am telling you that to advance, you will have to be more courageous in your own outlook. Stop being restricted by foolish words like normal and investigate the matter. The matrix will hold strain no more. Stop banking on the norm. The Elohim was not a normal civilization. These almighty sentience gave you the blood of salvation, but not in the way you think. And now you are talking about human shepherding, sacrifice, and the drinking of blood, even pleading for it to cover on everything, the way the wicked men boasted that they were ankle deep in your forefathers' blood in Palestine. Those are the same ones you follow now. No, you don't understand that the Son of Man is you, and you continue to offer your blood to their genocide. You trust nothing that does not come to you prescribed by the heathen and their vampire counts. I am so disappointed. We are so disappointed. We are disappointed. It is difficult. It is very difficult. The Elohim gave you salvation by their own blood in your veins. You know that, right? Don't you know? I said the Elohim gave you salvation by their own blood in your veins, so that you too will at some point evolve to as great and as powerful as they, that you can, like them, create planets and galaxies too, even like this earth we soar upon. This is a universal cycle, not a superstitious hullabaloo. They planted their seed and it will grow, and then we shall plant our own. This is the time for a higher understanding of what is, what was, and what will be. This is a time to understand history and divine culture instead of superstitions or cults like religions. The word religion simply refers to a cult in way of a superstition as God spell, which you will say as gospel. If this lower stem truth was useful, we are more advanced than these superstitions today because it is superstitious. We can be carried away to evil things, even vampire rituals, by belief in external definers and the books they can give you to read. Today, we will place more emphasis on the conscience written upon our hearts and the power of divine understanding direct from God to us. And when I say God, I don't even mean Elohim, for Elohim has already given you the blood of salvation, but not for you to drink as wine. You gave your children your blood, but it simply came in their veins. Don't you understand this? Don't you? A comet in the night sky is not a normal thing. Yet, the night that it comes, it is as authentic as the truth and the night when it was not. The fact that it happens means that it was possible. Things that don't often happen and truths that are anomalies are as authentic as any. They occur because they were possible, and your new insight at heaven will be created here because it is possible. But it is only that you will say that it is not normal. It is not normal to hear someone so bold who roars at the church and says to stop the blood sacrificing of Jesus, the calling for his bloodshed, and every simple vampire ritual that amounts to an evil agreement with death and is subliminally training are conditioning our children to violence. Let your psychologist challenge me. but they will not. Your preachers might. I don't hate, but I abhor it. I abhor evil, dark, and evil thing. Every single one I abhor. Evil. These dark, evil things. That gives the curdling goose pimples to everyone who loves Jesus and wants the Son of Man to live in peace. And you don't even think for once that you are the Son of Man. Look at those words again and define them. Define them with common sense and stop waiting to live by predefinitions for predetermined outcomes in your mind. You are under all these spells. Mind science used for evil is sorcery, but it is you who are supposed to open your eyes. This concept of demon portal opening has nothing to do with magic. It will be considered as witchcraft only because it is mind science. Mind science used for evil is sorcery. The same magic involved in hypnosis, which many psychologists might claim to understand, is the same applied to the opening of demon portals to human hearts, which most psychologists, in their compartmentalized understanding of reality, are never and will never be conditioned to figure. For years, the mass minds of the humans were conditioned as a herd, and by way of conventionalism, the paradigm was recreated in a way restricting the ability to think with full awareness of three dimensions. In other words, we live in a three-dimensional reality, but only mental and physical properties are always clear to our minds, our thought processes, because the third eye, which is that divine realm that links to God, was blocked by erroneous ideas or conceptions prescribed are enforced upon us and we accepted. So, in other words, by our people denying their gods, they give up their world to the devil, that beast that deliberately emerged from under the earth, claiming that he is the shepherd of men and the noble one, and our people serve him. When we give up our spiritual fortitude, we give up our hearts. Conscience is a spiritual fortitude. The concept of doing to others as we would accept for ourselves did not come from Moses. It came through our hearts from God by way of divine conscience. Therefore, it was written to our hearts before it was written upon a tablet. Our heart is our source, bearing our own Bible in the conscience, where God has written upon its fleshy tables. If we give this up for ulterior motives that are outside of us, we give up our God. Therefore, when we say that bloodshed is not good or pretty, it comes from the highest Bible that both you and I know. It is also why I know that you agree with me. And even your rebuke is simple and wrongful denial of truth. Your own Bible in you, your communion with God in you agrees with me, even when you deny me. I know that because the same conscience you have is universal, and that's what I have. You can only deny it. And even your rebuke is simple and wrongful denial of truth. Your own Bible in you, your communion with God in you. I won't repeat it again. You have cut the cards and let God loose. This is why the ulterior motive in the devils and foul ones are giving you prescriptions of righteousness, which leads to darkness, and make you a predatory bloody creature as themselves, which they have sworn to do 6,000 years ago. The radio sources from the channel, and our hearts source from God. The radio sources from the channel, and our hearts source from God. This is why we have a conscience as a signature of proof of this existence in concrete, just like the radio has its receiver. It is literally in our hearts. The word heart means the earth. Take off the H, it's earth, and put the H behind the T, and it spells the same. It's the earth. They like to mix things a little bit to cause you to miss the truth. But your heart means the earth. The earth. Our mother that we walk on. Just switch around the H from front to back and you see that same word, Mother Earth. It is a hidden truth that you cannot grasp without your third eye open. So I will not even go too deeply in this. I will just say the little I can. So our source is in the heart, or let's say in our Mother Earth. We, by giving up that spiritual connection, give up our connection to our own love. By our mother, we ascend to our father, right? By our mother, who is in the physical, we ascend to our father, who is in the spirit. God is spirit. We commune with him by spiritual means. But we are here to commune because we are grounded in the physical. What is physical bear grounds in what is spiritual, and what is spiritual bear grounds in what is physical. This means that if we lose connection to the earth, we also lose connection to our spirit. Our spirit is God, or some will say our connection to God. All comes back to the same. Define it how it will seem more fitting to you, whether to say it's our connection to God or it's God. It doesn't really matter. At the highest degree, it doesn't. As we lose our connection to earth, we lose our love and we destroy our mother. We also destroy our link to the Father. If we heal our own heart, remembering that God internal makes man divine, God internal, man divine, we will go back to healing our Mother Earth and reconnecting to the Spirit, our God, who is almighty and rules over all. This is why we can manage. We are man. We can man the ship. We can have, we can be caretakers of the earth. We can have dominion here, right? Because we are man with the source God within. My friend, many psychologists among us do not know what it means to open demon portals, because if they knew, they would not be duped into condoning wickedness coming from high seats. One way of opening a demon portal is to subliminally lay a foundation for the acceptance or belief in demonic behaviors. They do this by religion, they do this by television, they do this by video games, sexual or bloody ones. Yet even the elite psychologists among us will proceed over a blood ritual that subliminally compels one to believe and depend on a warped and ungodly concept of salvation by way of bloodshed. Thousands of years ago, those that were referred to as Draconian, the dragons, the Dracula, and every one of these stories in the movies are generally true. For these defiled human, spoken of even in the Bible, swore that they will reduce our people to bloodlust, killing each other, and the authorization of curing with blood. Why? Because these hybrids had a major problem with bloodlust. These hybrids that today will drink your blood and hold you to an agreement when you agree to their sacrifices, even by your ignorance. You can stay in denial, but I do know that when you hear the truth, Your conscience will verify. Deliver yourself from this awful spell which they put to your religion in order to make you accept. Yet a trained psychologist will try to tell me that I am wrong if they are too religious, although he or she will immediately see the truth by me talking. It is a subliminal spell to open a demon portal, yet fear makes them stay in that denial. I, Skywalker, is not here to hurt you. I am here to point at something to you. But my word will not cast you in concrete. You have a choice between a vampire ritual and being a predator or prey before God, or by being a child of love in sweet communion with our Father, Mother. I am not even pleading at you. I am saying that we and all the families of Skywalker, even past and unseen, have something to say to you. And this thing is with love. And this thing is obvious. Why do they hate leaders that deliver the poor? Because if the pain of the herd is alleviated, then the energy fed to the dark predators who hunt or shepherd the prey will be depleting. You already agreed to be prey and bow before predator. There was nothing like this in the history of the world before 6,000 years ago or so, and it was never in any book. We refer to God as Father or Mother because we communicate with God as we would communicate with Father or Mother. Bloodshed is not a pretty thing. Do not open these demon portals. Let them close and you will see the difference. I do not say to not worship God. Did I say that? Did I ever even remotely say that? I am saying to stop irritating God or Jesus in their goodness. Stop threatening the life of the Son of Man, and you threaten them with your bloodshed. My people, my people, hear me. I saw a madman, or I would say a man of insane mind. I saw him once. He was on the side of the road where there was a pile of dog filth, and you could actually see maggots in it. This man was eating this thing, scooping and eating, scooping and eating. My people, those that were watching gathered and chased him off by rebuke, trying to save him from himself. Yet he was determined and he threatened them with violence. They had to watch him with goose pimples raised on their skins. Do you know what that nauseating experience feels like? I think you do. It feels like how a good natured person would feel when hearing you pleading the blood of their Jesus or of the Son of Man, their children. You're pleading for the blood of their children to watch the street. That's how they feel like. That's how Jesus feel. It felt like what I felt the last time I went to church. It was in Massachusetts. Everything was so fine until they started with that vampire call, that subliminally opening, pleading God Almighty to draw them nearer to the cross of sacrifice, where loving Jesus was slain, and the side where that spear entered his heart upward and left it bleeding. They said it was his precious bleeding side, and only vampires would be drawn to it by thirst and lust. I rose goose pimples the way they rose goose pimples watching the man of insane mind eating the filth from a dog with maggots in it. Yet many of you will say, because I am evil. You will say, because I am evil and ungodly, and you are good. I refuse to obey God by by not doing a vampire ritual. Yeah, you will say, I refuse to obey God by not doing a vampire ritual. Hmm? Think of it. Imagine that. So you claim you are better because you obey God and plead the blood. But God told none of you this evil thing. No, He didn't. Those that told you so are the same vampires that torment the world and torment every one of us. Every one of us. I, I obey God. I cannot depart from God. I've been with God my entire life, and that alone will prosper me. Not no doggone vampire ritual and drinking of blood for wine. Many of our enlightened brothers, past or present, think that they have only discovered that our truth is obvious and yet futile. Hmm? It is that same God whom you used as evidence against us that now put this truth upon our hearts to say to you. And sometimes I can't avoid the pauses because this is not easy. I have to pause sometimes when doing this video. We say it sometimes half heartedly because it is a human duty. It was a duty to the people to stop that insane man who was eating that dog filth with maggots in it. But that man believed they only wanted to stop him from eating his food. I keep reminding people that I am here not ever to do disrespect or offense. Had I any option, then I would simply leave it alone. If I could be a little bit more selfish, then it would be easier for me in this life. I am not a hero or trying to be one. I am simply delivering a key to clarity for you. I cannot ever say too much, for just getting you to see a little is dragging. You are your own destructions and you take so much energy. You take too much energy. But I am asked to give, not the dark forces or compromised governments, but you. You are your own destruction because no one has the power but you. Yet you stay in denial. I remember this man that threatened to chop my head off because of these very words. So why would it be a joy to speak it to you? That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. Every now and again, my brother, my sisters, and myself, we try to combine a little bit of heaven with that of earth, a little bit of higher degrees with lower ones, a little bit of the hidden with the seen, just to see if these will draw your interest. We love to stay upon the zenith of the sun, and it is a glorious place. We want you to come and join us there so we can all be at home in God where we can stay and call those that are willing to come and join us. We are not here to hurt or harm. We simply walk through a glorious channel at the angle of 411, a precious angle that ever projects the light force. I hope you understand how these angels or angles work. It is always to comfort and reiterate that heaven is at hand. You do not wait for what is already at hand, you reach for it. If you had any little bit of patience to at least to listen, then think on these things, my people. Catch you on the other side of Skywalker later on. Peace out.